Good afternoon, student. I am Sarika Shinde from SNJB's Arts, Commerce and Science College, Chandwad, from Physics Department. Today we are going to study about laser and its application. But before studying laser and its applications, we will see how lasers are formed or how we can prepare laser. For the preparation of laser, the working principle of laser depends upon three processes: absorption of radiation, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. We will see these three processes step by step. First one is absorption of radiation, but before that we will see how these lasers are formed. In 1900, Max Planck proposed that light consists of discrete bundle of chunks of energy. These bundles of radiant energy are called as quanta. In 1905, Einstein refined the quantum hypothesis of Planck and provided theoretical justification for the feature of photoelectric effect. He gave the name photon to the quantum of light energy. Thus, light is made up of particles called photons, which exhibit both particle-like and wave-like properties. Each photon has intrinsic energy determined by the equation E is equals to h nu, where nu is the frequency of the light and h is Planck's constant. Since for a wave, the frequency and wavelength are related by the equation c is equals to nu lambda, where lambda is the wavelength of light and c is the speed of light in vacuum, equation can be rewritten as E is equals to hc upon lambda. In 1915, Niels Bohr proposed a model of the atom. The simple model became the basis for the field of quantum mechanics and is useful for demonstrating laser principles. In Bohr model, atom has a limited number of fixed orbits that are available to the electrons. Under the right circumstances, electron can go from its ground state, lower energy orbit, to a higher energy state, or it can decay from higher state to a lower state, but it cannot remain between these states. The allowed energy states are called quantum states, and are referred to by the principal quantum number 1, 2, 3, etc. The quantum states are represented by an energy level diagram. For an electron to jump to a higher quantum state, the atom must receive energy from the outside world. This can happen through a variety of mechanisms such as inelastic or semi-elastic collisions with other atom and absorption of energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation. Likewise, when an electron drops from a higher state to a lower state, the atom must give off energy either as kinetic activity or as electromagnetic radiation. See, this is the Bohr model. For an atom to absorb light, for the light energy to cause an electron to move from a lower energy state to a higher energy state, the energy of single photon must equal to the energy difference between the two states, that is delta E is equals to Am minus En, and its value is hc upon lambda. Likewise, when an electron decay to a lower energy level in a radiative transition, the photon of the light given off by the atom must also have an energy equal to the energy difference between the two states. See, this is the Bohr model. These are the quantum numbers. N is equals to 1, 2, 3 and 4. And when electron jumps from lower to higher energy level, it receives energy, and when it jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, then it decay energy. Laser emission is shaped by the rules of quantum mechanics, which limit atoms and molecules to having discrete amount of stored energy and depend on the nature of the atom or molecule. When one or more of the atoms electrons have absorbed energy, they can move to outer orbits, and the atom is then referred to as being excited. Excited states are generally not stable. As electrons drop from higher energy to lower energy levels, they emit the extra energy as light. Working principle of laser. Three processes. One is absorption, then stimulated emission, and then spontaneous emission. Laser action is based on well-established principle of quantum theory. Let us consider the medium consisting of identical atoms capable of being excited from the energy level 1 to energy level 2 by absorption of photons. Let the level be denoted by E1 and E2 and the population be N1 and N2. This means that number of electrons present in E1 energy level are N1 and number of electrons present in E2 energy level are N2 respectively. In the thermal equilibrium condition, the number of atoms no net photon are generated or lost. However, when the atoms are subjected to an external light or frequency nu, the following three processes occur in the medium. Laser emission is shaped by the rules of quantum mechanics which limit absorption of radiation, spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. In absorption, what happens? In absorption of radiation, the process by which electrons in the ground state absorb energy from photons to jump into the higher energy level. The electrons orbiting very close to the nucleus are at the lower energy level or lower energy state, whereas the electrons orbiting farther away from the nucleus are at the higher energy level. The electron in the lower energy level needs some extra energy to jump into the higher energy level. This extra energy is provided from various energy sources such as heat, electric field or light. Let us consider two energy levels E1 and E2 of electrons. E1 is the ground state or lower energy state of electrons and E2 is the excited state or higher energy state of electrons. The electrons in the ground state are called lower energy electrons or ground state electrons, whereas the electrons in the excited state are called higher energy electron or excited electrons. Absorption of radiation is the process by which electrons in the ground state absorb energy from the photon to jump into the higher energy level. See here, electron is at ground state and when it receives energy, it jumps to a higher energy state. So, these two figures shows the ground level energy electron and higher energy level electron. When photons or light energy equal to the energy difference of the two energy levels E2 minus E1 is incident on the atom, the ground state electrons gain sufficient energy and jump from ground state to the excited state. The absorption of radiation or light occurs only if the energy of incident photon exactly matches the energy difference of the two energy levels. Next one is spontaneous emission. In spontaneous emission, what happens? When the electrons jump from excited state, then it goes to the lower state. Then when electron jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, it releases photon. So here the electron initial figure, electron is at higher energy level and it jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level and it releases energy. This is called as spontaneous emission. Spontaneous emission is the process by which electrons in the excited state return to the ground state by emitting photon. Thus, after the short lifetime of the excited electrons, they return to the lower energy state or ground state by releasing energy in the form of photons. In spontaneous emission, the electrons move naturally or spontaneously from one state, that is higher energy state, to another state, to the lower energy state. Therefore, we have no control over when an excited electron is going to lose energy in the form of light. The photon emitted in spontaneous emission process constitute ordinary incoherent light. Incoherent light is a beam of photon with frequent and random changes of phase between them. In other words, the photons emitted the spontaneous emission process do not flow exactly in the same direction of incident photons. Next process is stimulated emission. In stimulated emission is in which the excited electron and forces it to return to the ground state. Means electron is already present in the higher energy level state and we are giving external energy to that excited electron, and then when that electron jumps from higher energy level to lower energy level, instead of giving one photon, it gives two photons. This type of emission is called as stimulated emission. In stimulated emission, the light energy is supplied directly to the excited electron instead of supplying light energy to the ground state electron. Unlike the spontaneous emission, the stimulated emission is not a natural process, it is an artificial process. In spontaneous emission, the electron in the excited state will remain there until its lifetime is over. After completing their lifetime, they return to the ground state by releasing energy in the form of light. However, in stimulated emission, the electron in the excited state need not wait for completion of the lifetime. An alternative technique is used to forcefully return to the excited electron to ground state before completion of their lifetime. This technique is known as stimulated emission. When incident photon interacts with the excited electron, it forces the excited electron to return to the ground state. This is stimulated emission. So, this is the difference between stimulated emission and spontaneous emission. All the emitted photons in stimulated emission have the same energy, same frequency, and are in phase. Therefore, all photons in the stimulated emission travel in the same direction. The number of photons emitted in the stimulated emission depend on the number of electrons in the higher energy level or excited state and the incident light intensity. So, thank you.